morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to take another look at a Pokemon that basically I wasn't expecting to be taking another look at. It's Rhyperior V. And I'll be perfectly honest with you, right? Rhyperior as a Pokemon really has not gotten a lot of love at all in the Pokemon trading card game. Now, there was Rhyperior Level X, and we like Rhyperior Level X. 0 energy, you discard the top 5 cards of your deck, and you did 50 damage for each energy card you discarded. And that was played in a really funky little deck with Mew Prime. Mew could copy the attacks of any of your Pokemon in the Lost Zone, so essentially what you would do would be to Lost Zone Rhyperior Level X, and then Mew would come along and copy it. And it was a fun deck, and it was a dumb deck. And that has been the highlight of Rhyperior to date. There was a very brief window where people thought maybe the Rhyperior from Burning Shadows could be kind of fun. When you played it from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, you discarded the top 3 cards of their deck. So as kind of a mill deck where you'd continually try and reuse that, but that never ended up being good. Rhyperior, frankly, has ended up being, let's say, euphemistically cast aside in the Pokemon trading card game. But I pay an awful lot of attention to an awful lot of places that talk about the Pokemon trading card game. And one of the things I have seen pop up in the last couple of weeks is a bit of love coming around for Rhyperior V as a nice little tech option. Now, Rhyperior V, I mean, to be fair, 230 HP is extremely high, and the retreat cost of 4 does open up buff padding, which would put you up to 280 HP, which is awesome, although to be fair, as a basic non-GX, it also opens up Cape of Toughness, which would put you up to 280 HP, which is awesome, although generally speaking, this is not what it's actually played for. And what we've got is 2 attacks. Drill Run for 1 fighting, 2 colorless energy does 80 damage and discards an energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. Heavy Rock Artillery for 1 fighting, 3 colorless energy does 210 damage, and during your next turn this Pokemon can't use Heavy Rock Artillery. But then again, we're going to be switching in and out, that really shouldn't be much of a problem. And the fact of the matter is that Rhyperior, although very expensive, is a sneaky good Pokemon to pop into decks if you're playing some kind of energy acceleration. Because in fighting decks, I mean look, in the near future we are going to have B. B is the one that lets you discard the top 5 cards of your deck and attach any energy you find there to your bench fighting Pokemon in any way you like. And to be fair, that will include Stone Fighting Energy, which reduces damage done to your fighting Pokemon by 20, making Rhyperior more of a tank. But B isn't out yet, and there's a chance that when B is, we're going to want to play other fighting Pokemon anyway. What we're really doing with Rhyperior is going, well, hang on a second. Both of these attack costs are 1 fighting and then colorless, so if we just play the odd fighting energy, we can then accelerate whatever else we like. And to be fair, you could play Aurora Energy here. You've got to discard a card from your hand to play it, but it still counts as a fighting energy without having to actually play fighting energy. And you know what? That sounds a-okay by me. And the reason we like Rhyperior V, the reason the attacks work, it's a numbers game and it's a weakness game. I mean, straight off the bat, the first attack, Drill Run, will actually get a 1-hit KO on the Den AGX. And the Den AGX does still see a huge amount of play. I've been grinding for the Players' Cup lately, as I'm sure a whole bunch of you have, and I will tell you that the amount of Dedenne that my Excadrill have been feasting on has been rather lovely. For me and my Excadrill, probably less so for my opponents and their Dedenne. Because the fact of the matter is, you're getting a nice easy KO here on a Pokemon that is played a lot, and you're going to be playing a boss's orders, and probably several of them, so that's rather nice. There is an element here of energy denial, we'll get there in a moment, it's not my favourite thing about the card. Really, and to be fair, Drill Run does not get a one-hit KO on a Crobat V without some kind of other damage modifier. Sure, if you're playing a Vitality Band, but we'd rather not, alright? So you go to the second attack, Heavy Rock Artillery. 1 fighting, 4 colorless energy, 210 damage, which is frankly not good enough. Something like Zacian's got 220. And yes, I know we could make the same argument here of, hey, let's play a Vitality Band, but given that they're probably playing something like Metal Goggles or Big Charm, and they might have used Lucario and Melmetal's GX attack, maybe let's not worry too much about, hey, if I get 10 extra damage, guaranteed KO, because the reality is you probably actually don't. Boo hiss, etc. But if you're hitting for weakness, you're good. And let's be perfectly clear, hitting a fighting weakness is one of the best to be hitting at the moment. Pikachu and Zekrom is still around, and in the past couple weeks, I have seen a steady uptick in the amount of chatter online about Pikachu and Zekrom. It seems to be coming back into fashion. To be fair, it avoids a one-hit KO from Zacian, and it's got a GX attack that can do 200 to the active while KOing someone like a Dedenne on the bench. It ain't bad, ladies and gentlemen. It ain't bad at all. And you can play it with something like Raichu and Alolan Raichu, which will go ahead and get Paralysis. So if you want to be KOing a giant free prize Pokemon, gee whiz, sure would be lovely if you could get Paralysis in the meantime. Why, yes. Yes, it would. Vikavolt decks are also out there, although honestly they do not seem to be doing all that well. I know they're far more in vogue in Japan over here, and Japan do have the old tricks like Electro Power and Thunder Mountain. Maybe that's the reason, but they are just not seeing a lot of love outside of Japan right now, at least as far as I can see. But you've got Eternatus. And the thing about Eternatus is that they've got a gigantic 340 HP. And yet you get a super easy KO with Rhyperior V. And that's essentially where we're going with this. It's all about making sure that you're just crushing. So, what decks are we actually going to play it in? And the answer basically comes down to what decks have energy acceleration. One of the ones I've seen it popping up in recently is Welder. Welder lets you attach 2 fire energy from your hand to one of your Pokemon, and then draw 3 cards. And you have to attach fire energy, but the Pokemon you attach to can be anything. So the theory here is you attach a fighting energy, you Welder 2 energy on, boom! Drill Run for 80 damage. Life is good. For what it's worth, this is a scenario in which Drill Run is good in terms of energy denial. If you can get, say, a turn 1 Drill Run going second, discard an energy, start combining that maybe with stuff like Crushing Hammer if you don't get it immediately, and there's too many decks around at the moment that are playing stuff like Welder and Turbo Patch and Metal Saucer and all of that. But if you can hit a couple heads on your own Crushing Hammer while using this, there is a chance you can run your opponent out of energy, and that's lovely. It is a bit of a pain that Heavy Rock Artillery is not Welder and an energy, it's energy and then Welder and an energy. But honestly, it's going to be awkward for your opponent. Like, you put a Rhyperior down and your opponent has essentially got a single turn here to boss his orders up and KO it, or else they are going to be in a fair bit of trouble. The deck I like it more in, however, is Porygon Z, and I know that Porygon Z is not proving to be a powerhouse in the format, but it is still there, and people are still trying to make it work, and I'm feeling guilty that I'm not playing it as much as I should. I think I need to fix that. But Porygon Z's crazy code says that as often as you like during your turn, you may attach a special energy from your hand to one of your Pokemon. So, obviously, you're going to be looking for things like Aurora Energy to pay the fighting energy. Unit Energy and Rainbow have unfortunately rotated. So, you pretty much are going to be stuck on Aurora Energy, unfortunately, in terms of actually being able to pay the fighting with a special energy. But then you can attach as much other as you like, and if you're using colourless energy, you've got Recycle Energy that bounces back to your hand when it's discarded, or Draw Energy that lets you draw a card when you attach it, or Capture Energy that lets you search your deck for a basic Pokemon and bench it when you attach it, etc, etc, or even Weakness Guard Energy if you're really worried about grass decks. And that is another cool thing about Rhyperior V, the fact that your weakness to grass means that you're just not being hit for weakness pretty much ever. Like maybe the odd one here or there, but nah. I really don't think it's something we need to worry about too much. It's just not happening. So that's kind of lovely. And that's essentially where Rhyperior fits into the metagame. I honestly was not buying Rhyperior when I first saw it. I just didn't think it was good enough, and I didn't think it was powerful enough, and I didn't think it was going to end up being relevant. But the fact of the matter is, it only needs one fighting energy, and then you've got colorless energy, which means any deck with energy acceleration is going to be able to take advantage of that, and actually, this is what it's come down to. I've seen it being played in Welder decks. I've seen it being played in Porygon Z decks. And maybe it is just going to end up being a fringe Pokemon that pops up in the odd deck here or there. Or maybe it's going to end up being something that pops up more and more often and becomes a little bit of a staple. Certainly, if what you're looking for is a fighting Pokemon that can hit weakness on these fighting weak Pokemon, this is a pretty gosh darned good option. But now it's over to you guys. Is this something you've been playing? Is this something you've seen being played? Or are you just frankly not buying it? Go nuts. Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.